What are your worst and weirdest experiences with dating apps? He made me watch his homemade rap videos and try to like his own Facebook page on my phone. Met at a coffee shop, she's there early. I order my drink, sit down, and she looks at me, and this is her first sentence. Let's cut to the chase. I need a father for my 4 sons. I got up and left. Just like their actual fathers, huh? I met a girl for a date who turned out to be much better looking than her photos, which is always a nice surprise. The date went well, just dinner and a walk, and we said our goodbyes. The next day, she invited me out to a friend's birthday party downtown as her +1. I wanted to go, but I had to work the next day and wanted to be able to drink a little since it was a bunch of people I didn't know. She said, "That's all right, you can park at my house and sleep over." Cha-ching! So of course I said yes. Fast forward to the middle of the party, I'm enjoying myself, chatting it up with her friends and having a good time, and the next thing I know she absolutely loses it and storms out of the bar, leaving me there, drunk, with her friends. I still have no idea why. One of them told me she wants you to go after her, and I said, frick that, it's our second date, which not a single person blamed me for. I stayed at the party and switched to water while I continued talking with her friends. That was over a year ago, and I still regularly hang out with them. They've since stopped talking to her. 2-date relationship and you got custody. Good job. Perfectly nice date. 20 minutes into it, she says, "I'll be honest, I know what I need in a man, and you don't have it." At 25, I would have been crushed, wondering what it was would have kept me up for days. Being 35, I thanked her for being blunt and was happy to have an unexpectedly free evening. I'll be totally honest, at 45 I would have greatly appreciated her honesty and then cried myself to sleep that night. Regardless of anything else, I would have felt like a complete failure, but I would have respected her honesty. I completely sympathize with both of these viewpoints. I guess it depends on how much I like the person and how high my hopes are after a first date. In my 30s, I'm still not immune to the whole getting starry-eyed after one date effect. Not me, but my friend went on a really great Tinder date a few months ago. She said they really seemed to hit it off. They got some margaritas, had a fun but very deep conversation about life and other philosophical things, and then made out a little bit. She didn't hear from him for the rest of the weekend, which felt odd because she had such a great feeling about him. She usually has a good radar for these things. She ended up stalking him on Facebook to see what he was up to. He'd self-deleted. She was lying about her age and wanted a baby, starting immediately. Okay, to elaborate, the profile said she was 19 and she was really freaking hot, so I was pretty interested. We text and talk on the phone. She does cutesy, kinda immature stuff, but I blow it off thinking she's just awkward at flirting. One night, we're texting and she starts sending me pictures. And these were quite adult in nature, so now I'm extremely interested in meeting up. She agrees, but on one condition: no protection. I'm curious about her medical history. I try to stay clean despite being a filthy man hussy, so I ask when she last got tested. "Oh, I haven't been to the doctor in a couple of years," she says. So I inquire how she has birth control, and of course she doesn't. Turns out she saw that I was a single dad and just assumed I'd be okay with siring another offspring. She was wrong. She got extremely upset and originally begged me to reconsider and that she needed a child in her life. When I remained unwilling, she dropped the bombshell. She was 17 and more than willing to go to the cops about the pictures I had on my phone if I didn't give her a baby. Delete every freaking thing and block her right there and immediately. I don't have Tinder anymore. We went out for drinks and then walked around the park, and it was an enjoyable date. I took her home and parked next to her apartment. She said I shouldn't park there because I will get towed. I said I only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. She said, seriously, you should park in visitors since you can stay all night and not get towed. I responded, oh, don't worry, I only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. I'm not a smart man. We went to her place, ate some special fungi, and then did the deed. She was a biter, and it was like doing the deed with a giant spider. Needless to say, I didn't have a great time, and she kicked me out. I sat in my car outside for 2 long hours, tripping on shrooms and trying to come to terms with what felt like dying. Woke up the next morning with large bite marks. Never do shrooms with strange Tinder girls. Funny. I went on an OkCupid date. We ate the same special fungi. We had a great dinner, great convo, and made out at his place. He pushed for more, but I was trying to take a new, slow approach. 10 minutes later, I'm sitting in my car in his apartment parking lot, mildly tripping and looking at the pretty lights and thinking about how time works. He never called me again. All in all, not the worst, but certainly not the best. Mushrooms and online dating, maybe not. Met with a girl who ended up being 16. I was 18 at the time. She told me how, on her last date, the guy drove her to a secluded area and told her she had to give him head or he wouldn't drive her home, and she asked me not to do that to her. I took her home immediately and never met another girl online again. It kinda sounds like she's got you beat for the worst Tinder story, to be honest. My profile picture is a toilet. The first time I met a girl, we actually talked about toilets for an hour. Your pic is a toilet and you got a match? Thanks for rubbing it in. Not an awful date, but after I told him I wasn't interested in pursuing it further, he insisted I left my socks at his place, and I had to get them because they look like really nice socks and I'm sure you'd want them back. This went on for several days. Obviously, it was a weird ploy to get me back to his house. I just think he could have thought of something way better. I mean, it was winter, so clearly I put my socks and shoes back on before leaving. He showed up with his iPhone on a lanyard around his neck, but he introduced me to Reddit, so I guess it went okay. And I should really thank him because I met my fiancé on Reddit and he's in the process of moving halfway around the world for me. Friend from class matched with my then girlfriend, now ex. He informed me of the match and proceeded to set up a coffee date. Instead of him showing up to the date, I did. I had the pleasure of watching my girlfriend freak the F out. I mean, I hope that she became your ex minutes after this encounter and that you didn't both get stuck in an absolutely poisonous relationship of mistrust and nastiness afterwards. I have a doozy. So last year, after getting out of a horrible sort of relationship, I decided to try something casual and use Tinder. Got lots of responses and everything was going well. The dates were mostly lackluster and I figured I was just being too picky. So I decided that the next 5 people to ask me on dates get a yes. Bad move. So the first guy I go on a date with wants me to drive into the city, 45 minutes away, so we would have more stuff to do. Annoying, but sort of understandable, as I'm in a suburb without much exciting things. We meet, and he looks like his pictures. We say hello, and he tells me that we're going to go play soccer in the park. Cool, I love sports. On the way, we start talking and asking questions about each other, and I'm getting the vibe that we aren't such a great match. I love to travel, and he has zero desire. He only likes obscure sports, and I love them all. But hey, I'm here, stick with it. The entire time he talks about how he makes so much money and how embarrassing it is for his friend to only make $60K a year at his dream job. I make half of that. I would have left considering the love connection or lack thereof, but I figured I'd be polite until after lunch. We head out and we arrive. Dollar taco, which don't get me wrong, we don't have to splurge, but he looked me up and down and said, "You've got to earn your meal first," and gave me a creepy freaking smile. Nope. I feign a fake cell phone call and have to leave, but he insists on walking me to my car. We get there and I try to shrug him off and get the frick out, but then it happens. He leans in for a kiss. But not just any kiss, open mouth, tongue out. And as he leans in, his crotch brushes against my leg. Unfortunately for him, the soccer shorts didn't conceal his raging, hard eggplant. So I did what any caught-off-guard girl would do. I accidentally laughed in his mouth. Oops. I was too awkward to say anything and just got in the car, driving away. Met up for a coffee after having quite a nice chat over Tinder for a few days. He sits down and says, "Hey, nice to meet you," then continues to pull out his laptop and sit there in complete silence for the next hour. I had nothing with me but my phone since I thought coffee date means conversation. Should have left sooner. So I show up at the coffee shop and the B-word was just sitting there with some guy that looked like her boyfriend. They just sat there on their laptops and phones while I drank my latte at a nearby table like an idiot. I'm seriously considering that this is the actual story. I met one absolute charmer after talking for a few weeks. After agreeing to meet at a nearby coffee shop, I show up right on time. 10 minutes later, I get a text from him to come outside. Seems sketchy, but there's people about, so why not? I stand directly in front and he appears out of nowhere in a hoodie. We walk a bit before he asks me to walk down a darkly lit street. I say I'm uncomfortable and he immediately starts walking away. I assume he's joking and call him, only to hear him screaming at me on the other end. He sends me a text a couple of days later insulting my hair and telling me to suck my big eggplant, you N-word, B-word. In all honesty, that's so sketchy I'd consider reporting that to the police. It really sounds like he's looking for victims, and he might have succeeded at some point. Just for people who are wondering, you can call the police on a non-emergency line and tell them the situation. It's not about getting the guy arrested, he didn't break the law, but it's about informing them in case they've had some other attacks or crimes that could be similar in nature. My wife once did this a couple of hours after having a similar experience. Turns out they were looking for a guy who had the MO of the guy she described, and they wished she had called them sooner. even though technically he didn't do anything illegal to my wife. I got matched with a friend of mine I was really interested in, and everything was really cool. We ended up dating a couple of months after the first night we spent together. Then she slept with one of my best friends. That wasn't really cool. If you want to be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Albert E. Roosevelt. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out Easy Mode, also linked below, and subscribe. My first date with this guy would have been his cat's funeral. Luckily, I had the common sense not to take it that far. I'd matched with a guy and we began to be hitting it off, so I gave him my cell number, and of course he became increasingly strange. He was telling me about his cat and how he was worried about her because she was very ill. Okay, I understand having a sick pet is sad. Then he began to tell me about their relationship and how she was always there for him. Yep, I'm close to my animals too, that's fine. But then he began discussing how he doesn't know what to do if his cat passes away, and how he might just self-delete unless I'd be willing to take his cat's place. No? After that, I stopped talking to him. He started messaging me furiously. He told me how his cat had died and he needed me to talk him through this. I expressed my condolences and tried to shake him off. He then proceeds to explain how we should meet up at his cat's funeral. I don't respond. I didn't intend on becoming a skin suit anytime soon. His last text to me was an angry ramble describing in graphic detail how it was to eat his cat's ashes. He consumed his cat. 1. When I was someone's Tinder nightmare. I got way too drunk, puked on myself, total blackout. 2. Tinder nightmare. Went on the date. 5 minutes into the conversation, he flips it to September 11th conspiracy theories and doesn't drop it, even after I explicitly state that the conversation is inappropriate. Told him later by text that I didn't think we were compatible. Cue 2 months of 3 a.m. phone calls where he pretends to be a furniture or renovation company that had problems delivering my order. To clarify, I asked politely for the subject to be changed before letting him know it was inappropriate. For those others who've expressed that this doesn't sit well with them, I guess it's good we're not dating? I think it's a healthy level of perspective to be able to admit that you've both had and been a nightmare date at some point in your life. We all go through stuff, people. There are some fun follow-ons to that second story. The fact that someone rationalized phoning at 3 a.m. pretending to be a furniture company makes me laugh. Hello, this is IKEA speaking. First date is going well. She's way out of my league and seems very much into me. Later, we're back at my place, after dinner and making out on the couch a little. We head into the bedroom and the clothes are coming off. Just as I'm about to slip it in, she says, "Wait, what? You should know I have herpes." Very funny. "No, I really do, and I'm in the middle of an outbreak." "You're joking." "I'm not. Do you need a minute?" Being fairly herpes naive, I reply, yep. I go out to my porch and sit down on a chair. After a minute, I hear her crying in my bedroom. She dresses and comes out. She asks me if I need some time to think, and I tell her that I do. We talk a little about other things. I drive her home and then spend the weekend completely torn up, weighing my options. Is she worth getting herpes over? You've only known her for 6 hours. Ultimately, I go out with her a few more times, and it turns out not only does she have the herps, but she's bat crap crazy. I dump her, and she tries to self-delete. Another hilarious story in and of itself. And I test negative for herpes. Back to the drawing board. We went on 3 or 4 dates. I, 30-year-old male, was starting to get feelings and I liked this girl, 25. On our 4th date, she asked if I could watch her cat while she was moving apartments. I'm not a fan of cats. Sorry, YouTube, but I'm a nice guy and kept the cat in my home office. Long story short, she doesn't answer her phone for over a week and only picks up her cat when I sent a message saying it's going to the local shelter within 24 hours. Fricking Tinder. Matched with this guy, we talked for a little bit and we didn't really seem to have anything in common, so I didn't plan on going out with him. When I finally did decline, he threw a fit and pestered me, promising a lovely night out and to just give him a chance. That should have been my first clue. Now, at this point in my life, I was admittedly very picky about guys I'd go out with, and this guy, as well as my roommates, encouraged me to just go because maybe I'm missing out on a nice person. Fine. We go to sushi, no attraction, nothing in common, horrible conversation. Every time I tried to lead with a subject, he ended it. "What's your favorite restaurant?" "I don't know." "Do you play any sports?" "No." The conversation was a dead end at every turn. Had a terrible time. Good sushi, though. I insisted I pay half the bill and we walked out. Then he grabbed me by the arm very aggressively, insisting we go to Starbucks for coffee. I said, no thank you, I just ate, I'm very full. I have a test tomorrow, whatever. But he literally overpowered me and pulled me in and sat us down at a table. Now I was freaked out. We sat awkwardly, silently. I asked, are you getting coffee or… He smiled and said, no, I don't want any. I said, okay, so why are we here? And he slipped his hand between my thighs and credit carded me under the table. I was mortified and moved away. I said, I'm going home now. I thank God I drove separately. As I got to my car, he asked, so when can we go out again? I almost laughed at him, but I was polite because I'm a huge wuss. I said, well, you're very nice. Lie. But we don't have much in common, and I don't really feel the chemistry, but thanks for showing me the new sushi restaurant. You're a fricking C-word. You're just the same as all women. I thought you were different, you dumb bimbo piece of crap. F you. I got in my car and left. When I got home, I had many texts from him and his roommate. From date guy, I got a lot of frick you, and from the roommate, I got a few angry and concerned ones like, my roommate came home really upset and teed off. What the frick did you do to him? You're a B-word. I literally had no idea people could be like that. It really soured my Tinder experience, but I had fun laughing at the texts with my roommates. We went on 3 dates. The next time she asked to see me, I told her I was visiting family and wouldn't be available until the following weekend. In that moment, she freaked out and sent me a 7-page-long text about how I destroyed what could have been a perfect relationship and that she wanted to marry me still if I would just put her first. She then left me a voicemail of her singing You've Got It Bad by Usher while crying and saying she loved me over and over. 2 days later, she sent me pictures of her burning a bucket list she had made for us. Kinda glad I got out of that one unscathed. Recently met this guy on Tinder and have been on 3 dates with him. First date went really well until his car got towed. Second date, we went to his place, got drunk and banged, ended up with protection stuck inside me and proceeded to freak the frick out and had to go to ER. Third date, he got me high for the first time, got me way too high, freaked out again and started pinching his chest really hard and speaking Thai. He added me on Facebook after that. 8 out of 10 would go on date again. I genuinely can't tell if this person is being sarcastic with the rating or not. It sounds like you guys had fun together even if all 3 dates got weird on some level. I wonder if these two went on any more dates and what levels of destruction were unleashed. Were you able to speak Thai before getting high? I want to know too. I'd like to learn Thai and this sounds like the easiest way. I once went on a date with a woman who claimed she hadn't smoked green herb since like the 8th grade because once she started getting into white snow, what was the point? But now she was smoking to help with the nausea because her shrinks put her on lithium. It was a lot of info for the third sentence of a date. I met a girl on Tinder. I think I won her over with my jokes about loving dirty socks and old Greg. We talk for a while and finally decide to go to a lake. We both love nature. We go, meet, hug, and sit down on a blanket by the lake. We talk for a bit. About 10 minutes later, I hear a splat. She looks down and laughs. I look down at her leg. There, sitting on her right leg, is a big white, pebbly bird crab. I ask, did a bird just crap on your leg? She says yes and laughs again. Before the date, we'd promised no bullcrap. We must be ourselves. I don't think before I catch myself wiping the bird crap off her leg with my hand. I go to the lake, wash my hand off and go and sit back down. We have a little laugh, talk for another couple of hours and decide to call it a night. We go back to our cars and I give her the goodbye. I wasn't sure if I should give her a hug or a kiss at this point. I didn't want to be invasive. As I'm hugging her and thinking about the kiss, I start to harden up down there. I regret the decision to wear athletic shorts. I think I have 2 options. 1, turn around after the hug and walk back to my car. 2, try to conspicuously tuck the little guy into my waistline of my athletic shorts and go for the kiss. I go for option 3. Things are happening down there. I can't keep hugging you. We laugh. I hug her again and say, I'll talk to you soon. We promised we'd be honest. But on my way back to my car, I just keep thinking, crap, too honest, too honest. I turn on my car and wait to see if she's going to leave first. Then she gets out of her car and walks towards me with something in her hands. I roll down my window. You forgot the banana bread I made for you. I couldn't believe I made her come back to the awkwardness to make her give me the banana bread she had made for me. I take it from her, we both still laugh a bit about the boner thing, and I put the banana bread on the passenger seat. Then, and this is the part I still can't believe, she leans in, we kiss. A gentle, small, but amazing kiss. She walks back to her car and drives away. I do a couple of fist pumps and then drive home. On my way home, I start to question what the frick just happened. So much about myself to doubt, but so much greatness to it. What just happened? I'm driving home and Bohemian Rhapsody comes on. I have a Wayne's World moment. I will not let you go! Fast forward 3 months, we're still talking. I saw her tonight. We went to a creek again. We've gotten poison ivy from each other, been camping, shared great music. It's all been so great. I don't ever want to leave her. When we look back, she says I won her over when I wiped the bird crap off her leg. Needless to say, that bird was my wingman. And yeah, I read the title as Worst or Weirdest Experiences, but I've only gone on one Tinder date, so technically this is my worst Tinder experience. It's also my best. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, or if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out Easy Mode. If you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Everything linked in the description.